So it's 7:02 p.m. So I'll make a motion to open the planning board meeting of Monday, August 5th, 2024. Is there a second?
Fred Monaco, I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor and roll call vote. So go to Fred.
No, I second it, so okay.
But you need to vote on it now,
Yeah,
right?
right, okay, all right. I should know this by now. Fred Monaco, aye.
Okay, so you get Fred, Nick,
Papastratis, aye.
Kevin,
Cantwell, aye.
and Katie O'Donnell, aye. So this is the planning board meeting. We have a couple of things on the agenda tonight, a continued public hearing at 7:05, but right now it's 7:03. So let's go to the Duxbury Street voting on that decision. Greg, are there any updates on that?
Nobody got back to me with any changes, so I think we're all set unless somebody has any questions or comments on the decision now.
Anyone?
Nope. I went through it all. I'm good.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the decision for Duxbury Street. Do I need to include any dates on that, Greg? I don't have it open. All right.
Fred Monaco, I'll second the motion.
Okay, and roll call vote. Fred?
Fred Monaco, aye.
Nick?
I can't vote on this one. I wasn't
Oh, sorry.
part
Thank
of that
you.
meeting. Yep.
Kevin?
Cantwell, aye.
And Katie O'Donnell, aye.
So we're good.
So motion passes. And then we're at 7:04. So let's go to the road surety for Beaver Crossing.
So they've done the fencing, post and rail fence and stuff, and we took out that part of the contingency, so we can release 23,976, and that will leave $8,640 left in the account. Pat was away on vacation, so there's only a couple of other little items. I have a feeling next month we will be releasing the rest of it.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the release of road surety for Beaver Crossing in, what was the amount that you said, Greg?
23,976.
$23,976. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Fred Monaco.
Okay, any discussion?
Nope, all set.
Roll call vote. Fred?
Fred Monaco, aye.
Nick?
Papastratis, aye.
Kevin?
Cantwell, aye.
And Katie O'Donnell, aye. All right, that takes us to 7:05. So I'll make a motion that we open the continued public hearing on the modification of the open space residential development special permit for the John Sherman Estates subdivision. Is there a second?
Second, I'll second it. Fred Monaco.
Okay, roll call vote. Fred?
Fred Monaco, aye.
Nick?
Papastratis, aye.
Kevin?
Cantwell, aye.
And Katie O'Donnell, aye. So do we have anyone here to present, or are you gonna?
I'm just going to give an update. Mr. Driscoll said he didn't know if he would come tonight. So we have 3 items remaining to wrap up the John Sherman subdivision. The first is the the cul-de-sac rain garden. The second is the nitrogen loading, because we hadn't gotten any monitoring reports in about a year. And the third was we have 1 property left on the encroachment. So on the cul-de-sac, Paul Driscoll has gotten, and Kevin Seeland said he will do it. They will go back in and they will take out some of that silt and stuff at the bottom, clean it up, fill it up a little higher so there's only 1 inch of water standing in a storm event versus a foot. But it is a rain garden, meaning it's more natural than like a landscaped garden. So Kevin is hopefully going to get to it within the next 2 weeks. So at least we're moving forward on that part. Nitrogen loading, Paul Driscoll did send me an email today that he has gotten the individual Mr. Dillon, who has taken a sample, and it'll be probably 10 days to 2 weeks before we have that first report on the nitrogen loading, which is kind of critical to see if we're over 5 parts per million. So we are still proceeding with that one. And then on the encroachment of the open space, just going to share the screen. All right, do you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so the area in red roughly is the area of encroachment in the open space. It's the last one that we have to deal with. There's a shed in there. There's also some kind of little coop or something over here. So the red should be a little bigger.
Can you open it up a little bit wider, Greg?
It's a photo, so it's kind of hard to, yeah.
Okay.
Zoom in a little bit. See, I zoomed in too much now.
All right.
So I thought I've sent you everything in your package.
Right.
So that's the area that's encroaching. We have not heard back from the property owner. I've sent several emails. I know the building commissioner has spoken to them as well. I've talked to Bob Galvin, and Bob Galvin recommended that the planning board vote to ask the building commissioner to send the property owner notice, giving them a 30-day window to come in and either fix the problem or at least come in and give us a time frame and what they are going to do to correct the situation. If they fail to do that after the 30 days, the building commissioner can start issuing tickets, zoning tickets, and that could be up to $300 a day per violation, which would be every day that it does not get corrected. Again, they have the 30 days to come in with a plan or to fix it before we get to that step. So that's where we are on the subdivision at the moment. If the board would like to start the procedure, that would take a vote. Does anybody have any?
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or anything on that? I think I'll make a motion that, how do I want to phrase this? That we request the building department.
Yep.
Here, I think I've got it writing from you. That we make a motion that the board requests that the building department send Mr. Larkin a notice that he is in violation of an open space residential special permit by encroaching on restricted open space, and give him that 30 days to come in with a plan or proposal.
Yep. The only thing I would suggest is to remove the name. I wasn't going to use the name right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Nobody's here anyway, but I figured we'll just send the property owner that's how I would suggest.
Yes. Okay. Can I just use your language, or do you want me to see it?
It was all that. It's just switching the person's name with property owner.
Okay.
That works.
So, using the language that Greg suggested, is there a second?
I'll second it. Fred Monaco.
Any discussion? Roll call vote. Fred?
Fred Monaco, aye.
Nick?
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Kevin?
You're
Kevin, I think
muted,
you're on
Kevin.
mute.
You're muted, Kevin.
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
Katie O'Donnell, aye.
Okay, and then on the subdivision, again, speaking with Bob Galvin, he recommended that you guys continue it to October 7th to give the 3 things time to move along so we can hopefully wrap this up.
Okay, and that was October 7th?
October 7th, yep.
All right, I'll make a motion to continue the modification of the OSRD special permit for the John Sherman Estates subdivision to 7:05 p.m. on October 7th, 2024. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion, Fred Monaco.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Fred?
Fred Monaco, aye.
Nick?
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Kevin?
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
And Katie O'Donnell, aye.
So we'll hold off because I don't see Scott yet. We'll see if he comes in before we finish board staff reports. We have a couple of things. The state legislators have passed the accessory dwelling units change to the zoning. It does allow towns to have setbacks, to have height and mass requirements, et cetera, but it's no longer, it's a by right thing. It's not a special permit. And it could be a separate structure, again, if it meets the setbacks and stuff like that. My suggestion is, because they haven't finished, and I don't believe the governor has signed it just yet, that the board consider bringing this to next April's town meeting versus the December town meeting, because I have a feeling the December town meeting is still going to be contentious with the MBTA zoning package. But again, that's up to the board. We do have some time because it is a December town meeting, so the warrant has not opened yet. So that's the first thing. Second, because we're constantly asking you guys to come in to sign things, we wonder, we went back through the records and I attached, we used to allow the clerk to sign not only the A&R plans, but subdivision plans, and sign the decisions for subdivisions representing the whole board. And we wanted to know if the board wanted to consider that. It is basically just another sentence that we send every year when we send the officials in, that it's for, right now it's just for A&Rs only. But we have found language in the past that basically gave the clerk the ability, so you guys don't have to come in every time we need something signed. And then the last thing is while you're doing that, if you decide you want to go that route with the clerk, do you want to have reorganization? Because these things cost us $110 every time we file it. So we just wanted to double check if you guys were interested in reorganization. That would be the third thing to be aware of, especially while we're doing, debating whether or not you would like to have the clerk have more authority for signatures.
Okay. Like I'd say, I think it makes sense for having the clerk of the board being able to sign. I think that would make things, streamline things in the office and make it easier for you guys to be able to file things in a more timely manner. Personally, I don't have any real thoughts on reorganization at this time. I don't know if anybody else on the board feels differently.
I would agree.
Why ruin a good thing?
I don't have any. Why we're doing a good thing. You're right, Kev. Good quote.
Greg, I would be in favor of putting the accessory unit on December versus April, but I'm open for discussion from others. I mean, especially if we're essentially adopting the state language.
Well, I think we should put some setback, some height, and some mass.
I see. So some modifying the state language. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think if we keep looking at it, I think depending on when the state comes out with what they've said, with approving it and finalizing that. But I do feel like we've
So
got a
Nick,
lot.
they have language that says basically not larger gross floor area than half of the gross floor area of the principal dwelling or 900 square feet, whichever is smaller. And it also says that we can put language in that restricts it, that it is not a short-term rental, which in the case of Marshfield is an important consideration, because in the past we've had people converting sheds into rental units right along in the beach areas.
Right.
So that's why there's some language I think we are going to want to fit or at least consider.
So I think on the last version we drafted, didn't we come to the conclusion of about 900?
Yes, we
Yes.
were very close on that.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I know
Yeah.
initially some people had thought, what about 1,200 and stuff, but we had heard that the governor was thinking in the 900 range, and that's what did come out, so.
Okay.
They didn't have the language before about the short-term rental, which I think is helpful.
Mhm.
So I'm just I'll start drafting something so we at least have a draft and you guys can decide before the warrant opens.
Sounds good.
That makes sense.
So did you guys take a vote on the clerk signing the plans?
No, I can,
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
I didn't know if you guys had finished that.
Yeah, no, so I'll make a motion that the board file the appropriate paperwork to allow the clerk to sign for subdivision.
A&R subdivisions and subdivision decisions.
A&Rs, subdivisions, and subdivision decisions. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Fred Monaco.
Any discussion? Roll call vote. Fred?
Fred Monaco, aye.
Nick?
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Kevin?
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
Katie O'Donnell, aye.
So I guess we're gonna have to hold off until the next meeting and hopefully we'll have 4 members that sat in on the public hearing available to vote on the solar project. I mean, it isn't like it's gotta be done tomorrow anyway, because they still have other things that they have to do to get that project finished. So, and it is a town project, but it has been hanging around for about a month. So that's it as far as staff is concerned with the board staff report.
Okay.
And there's no Scott, so I think you guys, if you want to, if you have, things that you want to talk about, otherwise you can vote for adjournment.
Anyone have anything they want to discuss? Sorry, the corgi
I'm
does.
good.
The corgi does, yes.
The dog does.
Yeah, he has a lot of opinions. But all right, with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Is there a second?
Second, Fred Monaco.
Roll call vote. Fred?
Fred Monaco, aye.
Nick?
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Kevin?
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
Katie O'Donnell, aye. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.